Well, my love, we are what we focus on. So if we focus on negativity, then we are negative. It seems pretty easy. Like that seems like an easy concept. If I irritate you and somehow, and then you, which I know is an impossibility, but if I were to irritate you and then you focus on that irritation, then that irritation and focus starts to become the focal point of our relationship in those moments until that irritation is resolved. It's the same in every aspect of our lives. From, if you're worried about money and you are only focused on not having money instead of focusing on how to get money, well, you're focusing on the thing that's causing you the worry and the stress instead of figuring out, oh, I need to alter my focus to fix the problem. If I am focusing on, like sometimes my elbows hurt when we work out. Well, if I just focused on that elbow pain and didn't focus on the other parts of the body that are strong and force a good, healthy workout, then instead of going, oh, my elbows are hurting too bad, I can't work out today, I can't do that because I'm in pain. If I focus on, well, I recognize that pain, but also recognize and focus on the other ways to work around it, so it's beneficial for my body. If I focus on things that irritate me throughout the day, well, my God, I'd be creating an irritating person within myself, because that would be all that I'm focusing on. If I'm focusing on perfect thing, I've been focusing a lot on how the body is, and the fact that the body is 99% space, and then the part that is matter is made up mostly of water, and then made up of these energies that are communicating. So to focus on that helps me with my intuitiveness, some people would call it clairvoyance. It helps me better understand energies from other people, probably only because I've been focusing on it a lot. If I wasn't focusing on it, I would not be as intuitive.
This isn't the same thing as like the laws of manifestation and attraction.
Well, I think it goes.
Is it the same thing?
Yeah, for sure. I think it is the same thing. Because if you focus on a particular thing, it starts to manifest itself. A good example of that, I had somebody say, because I carry my karambit knives with me almost any time I leave the farm, because I've trained with them, I feel comfortable with them. I know that, but I don't dwell on them. But I've had somebody say, oh, well, you're just asking for trouble. And I said, well, I'm not asking for trouble because I have firearms throughout the house or in our vehicles. I'm not asking for trouble. I'm just prepared in the event there is ever trouble. I don't dwell on that. I don't have my rifles around the house going, oh, I can't wait to hope there's a burglar coming. I'm ready for him. I'm ready to go. Yeah, I never think that. And I don't want to think that, because if I did start to think that, then all of a sudden I'm going to end up having a situation where that's going to happen. I've seen that too many times in my life and other people's lives. You are and you become what you focus on. So whatever tragedy, whatever trauma, whatever has happened in our lives, and we've all gone through trauma and physical ailments, all sorts of issues. And if we only dwell on that and not focus on the other positives, then we do become depressed. If you get on these medications for depression, well, then you start to rely on it And it goes to the placebo effect. None of those depression pills can even make it to market unless they do these double-blind placebo tests. And so many people cure themselves thinking that they're taking something to heal themselves.
So, do you think, because they say that a person that loses their spouse typically dies within a year of losing their spouse, do you think that's because they focus on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And especially after a long period, or elderly, when you're 80, 90, and you've been with your spouse, for a very long time, then yeah, you feel like you don't have that partner. You don't have that corresponding masculine or feminine energy around you that you once had that helped complete that energetic cycle of having a partnership. Yeah, I think that is a real thing. I know that that after 20 years and after my spouse died, I certainly did not have a lust for life at all. Like zero.
Well, completely understandable.
So, but I realized that by focusing on that, I was stealing my own life force from myself by focusing on the negative. So I've learned over time to trick my brain, or to, as Dave Asbury said, I just listened to his podcast, you hack your brain. And that is true. I was doing it without really realizing what I was doing. I was like, okay, I know that this sort of thought process is not leading me into a more productive, healthy, and positive life. So I have to change my focus. And if I'm not changing my focus, then I'm just repeating these negative patterns. And then I'm just creating what I continue to focus on. I'm building up, building the things that I don't want, because that's what I'm focusing on.
Not to get off subject, but did you get his books yet?
Yeah, I ordered his audio book, and I'm already like an hour in.
Oh, good.
Or I forget, Dave Asbury, if y'all don't know, it's pretty fascinating. We recently watched a Danica Patrick's podcast with Dave Asbury on it, and it was really great.
Very fascinating.
I highly recommend you watching that. Really, and how to hack your brain, and because I'm so focused on, and have been, on the subatomic levels of our body and what happens with us, I just accidentally, coincidentally, fall onto that podcast, not knowing what it was. Right at the time, I was really thinking about it. And
clairvoyant.
That's one of those clairvoyant things. Like, I'll watch Danica Patrick's podcast sometimes, not every time, just sometimes when I see it, I'll watch it. And sometimes not. Probably, more often than not, I don't think about it. But something just told me, hey, go watch that. And I did. I was glad I did, because it was exactly what I'd been focusing on, which is a part of the manifestation, which you just mentioned. It's just like a lot of people that are always bitching about money. Like, we're talking about money. Oh, I just don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have it. And then they don't do anything to improve that portion of their life. I have really crappy relationships. Oh, I'm talking bad about my spouse. Well, if that's what you keep focusing on, and that's what you keep saying, that's what you keep projecting into the world, where you're getting it right back. It's a boomerang.
I feel like you can't complain about being, I'm just going to use overweight for an example. You can't complain about it if you're not willing to do anything about it to change the situation.
Well, I think it's a focus too. You focus on.
I can't lose weight. I can't lose weight.
Yeah, I got a problem. I know, I know a couple of people like that have said, that are truly, absolutely obese. Oh, I can't lose any weight. But I've been eating better. I eat better, and you're watching me eat a donut. Eating better, are
Or
you?
go back for fourths.
Right. And say, oh no, I got a problem. Oh, it's a thyroid problem. They're all defensive, and it's like, no, you are the problem. Your way of thinking is the problem. Which goes into a sign of that's a subtopic, but it's a disrespecting yourself, and which you're sending those signals to yourself, and you're focusing on that. If you're insecure about something, you're focusing on that thing. Oh God, my hair just doesn't look right today.
Like my neck.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody look at my neck.
Yeah, you focus, think you have something wrong with your neck. Like your neck is too long. Your neck is not too long.
It is.
It is not.
E.T.
No,
Phone home.
your neck is in perfect proportion with your body. You're just incredibly perfect. So focusing on anything does manifest it for sure. Yeah. Just like focusing on being a better journal writer for myself, just like focusing on being a better husband. All of a sudden you start to figure out how to be a better husband. If you're focusing on, like I have not been good technically, like with all the podcast equipment and all the stuff behind the scenes that we do here at our sanctuary. I have not been good at it, and I have been responsible for telling myself I am not good at technology. So I've been reinforcing and putting that bullseye, that focal point on that particular aspect of my experience in life. So I keep telling myself that, oh, you're not very good at that. And guess what? I end up continuing to be not very good at it.
But you elicit help and
That's
people
true.
that are going to show you how to
I
it.
recognize my
And as you keep
fault
doing
in
it,
that,
yeah.
And I realize there's going to be a learning curve, so I do go out of my way to find people that I think can help me overcome the things that I don't know or that I'm trying to really figure out are better ways to do something. I've just learned over the course of my life that's the best thing to do. If I don't know something, I need to find out somebody who does. It's like curious minds. I love being around curious-minded people and people that want to figure out things. It's one reason that I'm so glad that I live in a time where we do have podcasts and people having real conversations that are really in depth, and like Danica's that we just mentioned, or GTWs, or those.
Aubrey Marcus.
Aubrey Marcus. You're in. You feel like you're in the room with them, and they're having a conversation. Since we have currently a smaller, intimate group that comes out here on Sundays, which is wonderful, and we have these kind of conversations in person. But it's really great to have your batteries recharged, and that allows me to focus on things that I want to focus on in a way that makes me feel like I'm interactive. So I do focus on I'll spend a good amount of time each week watching various podcasts that stimulate my intellectual curiosity and spiritual fulfillment by some of these things. And because I focus on that, I'm not in a state of I wouldn't call it depression, but I was in a deep state of depression, and focusing on those things that are beneficial to me allowed me to break free from that, because I was no longer focusing on, I was forcing myself to focus on other things, positivity, if you will. So focusing on the bad makes things bad.
For sure.
Focusing on the good doesn't always make things good. Like you can't just focus on it and think, oh, well,
It's going to happen.
yeah, I'm just going to happen. Well, that's not how that works either. You actually have to, you think about it, you start to do, you take action, and then all of a sudden you examine and reflect on how is this action working towards what I was wanting, and how do I tweak that and alter it.
Well, I think you don't just think about it, you have to think positively about it.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, however you're thinking about it.
Yeah, it's got to be positive thoughts.
Yeah. Or something that is really beneficial. Like this is a beneficial thing. It's mutually beneficial if it's dealing with somebody else. Well, most battles are fought within our own mind.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, well, every battle is really. So
Our mind is our worst enemy.
So if we focus on relationships that have turned negative, or then all of a sudden we allow those things to consume us. If we think, oh God, I did so bad doing this one thing. Oh, it's horrible. Like I've traded commodities almost the entirety of my life, and I've had really, really high moments and really, really low moments trading. And all of that has been a direct result of what I focused on. Like, what was my mood? Like, how was I acting? Was I trying to self-sabotage myself? Every time I go outside of the boundaries of what I know is a successful pathway, I screw it up every time. And I screw it up. There's ultimately another underlying reason. Like, I'm trying to hurt myself, which is never a really good thing. That takes a lot of practice. I mean, you really have to be self-aware.
Oh, God, for sure.
And a lot of times when something happens in our lives, we start to focus on other things, like the excuses. Oh, there's an excuse. Oh, I didn't want to do a thing because of this. It'd be like, we had a big, nice group of family out here yesterday. If my focus would have been, oh God, Jill's family's here, this is going to be horrible. Well, I would have made it horrible for myself. And then that negative
And for me.
Yeah, and then that energy would have flowed on to everybody else, which would have been nonsense. But I don't ever feel that way. Like, I really enjoy it and have a great time. And
instead, my boys are up there smoking cigars. With old stepdad.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We had just a great time having wonderful philosophical discussions until midnight, and it was a very joyous thing. So everything is what you focus on it to be. If you just go, okay, I just want to be, we all have our own spot. We like our getaway spot in our house or wherever it may be.
This is mine. This is my getaway spot.
This is your getaway spot, and I love it out here. But mine is the study. So I like it whenever people are enjoying that spot with me. So, like having your boys last night, my focus was to engage them in a way that was mutually beneficial, and I could easily have seen in my darker times in life that whether it was them or anybody, wouldn't matter who it was, where I would have forced myself to not be over the top, aggressively rude. Like, I don't have patience for you. You are an idiot. And you don't know anything, and you're getting on my nerves. Like, there was a point in my life for a couple of years where I really had to struggle with that. Like, I know you're unread. I know you don't know anything. And I don't want to be around you or anybody like you. Get out of my presence. And that took a lot of focus on getting over that, because I enjoy people. No matter what. I mean, everybody has potential, whether or not they see it or not. And for me to understand hey, at one time, you didn't read that book. You didn't do this. You didn't do those things. You didn't know that until you were introduced to it. And so I'm the same thing. I'm just a reflection of what the people I'm talking about are now. I was also at that spot too. So who am I to make judgment on that now, just because I'm irritated? That just shows a shallow thought process, and then I focus on that, and then you just got to flip it. You have to be aware. You're like, okay, Kevin, what are you doing? Stop being a jackass.
Well, we all started somewhere. We all start somewhere. We had gone to eat, and we had a waitress, and that was her very first day there, and she kept apologizing, and we're like, it's okay.
Right.
It's okay. We all start somewhere. We all got to learn.
Yeah, there's no need to apologize over and over ad nauseum.
Right.
Yeah. But then that's a learning curve and a learning process. And the point of today's podcast is to realize that we are exactly what we focus on. If we think and only focus that this relationship is horrible, then it's going to continue to be horrible. If, like in our case, I only focus on how wonderful our relationship is. That is the only thing I focus on in our relationship. And if I deviated from that, then I would be throwing, seeds of, I would look for something. I would try to find something.
Goes back to the cheating podcast.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would literally plant seeds into my mind that would sabotage our relationship because my mind and focus was on negativity. And what's the point of that? It's the same way with myself. Like, I don't know, I've gained about 15 pounds over the past year. And I've been irritated with myself lately. I'm like, okay, Kevin, what are you doing? Looking in the mirror. I'm like, you're such a fatty. Like, what are you doing? You know better than this. But I work out. We work out really hard, and we work out all the time. But I know what it is. I have the hand-to-mouth disease. I want to go in there and have more snacks than I should.
Or the wine,
Yeah, like I'm not eating bad food. I'm still eating really healthy food. I'm just eating too much of it. And, of course, like yesterday, we're one bottle of wine would have been fine for all of us. But instead,
there's what for?
Yeah. Do we have more wine?
More wine.
Yeah, so the point is...
more wine.
Yeah. And having these focal points in our lives, and realize that all the different aspects of our personalities, we all have these little focal points, and we need to recognize what they are. When we get up in the morning, if we continue to tell ourselves, I'm just such a horrible morning person. God, I just can never get out of bed. Well, you're never going to be able to get out of bed. You're always going to struggle with it. And that goes with every single thing. I'm not good at that. I can't remember names. I'm just so horrible about remembering names. You're always going to be horrible about remembering names. And if we don't actively stay aware of the language that we're using and the language that we're telling ourselves and the language that we're sharing to others, then we can't recognize what it is that we have to change our focus to. And words are powerful. That's how we communicate and how our energy flows, the tones of our voice, how excited we get over anything, large or small. We're telling ourselves, I'm telling myself, I am in this bad mood. I recognize that I'm in this bad mood, and then I also recognize that my bad mood is affecting the people close to me, and that is, in turn, creating this vortex of more bad moods. So why am I doing that? Why do I continue then to focus on this way of behavior when I know that way of behavior is causing harm to me and the people I love. And if we're not aware of that, we're not looking at ourselves to figure that out, well, we just keep repeating the same patterns. And then we have to be aware and focus on, hey, I need to change that pattern of thought. Because if I don't, I'm going to continue to live the same life in the same spot. I'm going to continue to only have not enough money. I'm only going to always be in bad relationships. I'm always only going to be down on myself. I'm only going to be, oh God, I can't read because it makes me tired, or just, oh, I'm not into that, or I can't stay awake, I can't do this, or, every little bitty thing we reinforce to ourselves for the good or bad. And if we don't recognize it and pay attention to it, and we don't focus on ourselves, then we certainly can't fix ourselves, and we certainly can't fix relationships and all the little problems that are in our lives. There's no way to do that, and it ultimately goes back to just being aware. And then when you're aware, you're able to laser focus in on everything. And then you become acutely aware of your language and what you're saying to yourself, what you're saying to your spouse, your friends, your family.
Well, I want to learn to play the piano, and I keep telling myself, God, this is so hard. I'm never going to learn how to play this. But I'm not getting in there and practicing. Just like Spanish. I want to learn Spanish.
And that's a reinforcing...
Yeah. But this is really hard. Why do they turn their sentences around backwards from what we do? And it's
but
it's a hard concept to learn.
It's a language that you're telling yourself, though.
Yeah.
This is hard for me. Instead of, this is new. This is different than what I know. How do I explore this better so I can further understand it? Instead of, oh, this is so hard. I'm never going to
suck at this.
I'm never going to get this new language. Never going to do that. And then, so, of course, you're never going to do it. Because that's what you keep focusing on. When you have this desire, I want to play the piano, I want to learn Spanish. And every time that you start to think about it or go to do it, instant frustration, I'm never going to get this. Well, of course you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad mindset.
And just being aware. I haven't said that about the violin. I've wanted.
Have you been practicing?
No. But I haven't focused on it at all. And actually, I just forgot I even had the thing. And I put it next to my desk a couple of days ago. I just forgot about the violin. I know I want to learn how to play it, but it hasn't been a top priority. And I saw it in my office closet, and I was like, this is not the place. If I want to learn how to play the violin, I should take it out of the closet. So I took it out.
Inside. Out of sight, out of mind.
Right. So I put it right there beside my desk and told myself, all right, you're going to make, some time, maybe 15, 20 minutes every other day. Just spend a little bit of time learning it. And I know from being acutely aware of myself that when I start to feel irritated, because I sound at the moment it is not beautiful, but I know
like a cat crying.
But I know one day it will be. But I will find myself starting to get irritated.
So it's time to put it up.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I have to catch myself with that mindset. I go, oh. I can't tell myself that, because then I'm going to be irritated enough where I'm going to put it up and not want to touch it for a long time, because then I'm going to associate the violin with just blind irritation.
But you don't think when you get frustrated at that time after you've practiced for 10 or 15 minutes, hey, I'm frustrated. Let me set this aside. I'll come back to it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Instead of getting irritated and go, oh, I'm only going to associate this violin with irritation.
Yeah.
Or in your case, the piano and Spanish. I only associate that with ill feelings, instead of us thinking about it in terms of, I'm exercising my mind. I'm stretching myself. Stretching feels good. I learn at least a little bit. I learned something. And letting that be good. So we rest that on good, positive thoughts. So the next time we come to it, we can have the mindset of, I wonder what new word I'm going to use. I wonder or learn. I wonder what new phrase and how I can implement that. Now I got a new wrinkle on my brain, on my empty space that I am.
Or my neck.
Right. Well, as we age and mature and have all these experiences, and if we're, like most people, a lot of people, they just go through life and focus on, their sickness, their illness, their physical ailments, their bad relationships, and they just continue to reinforce all the negativity instead of finding all the positive. And then focusing on the positive so you drown out the negative. That's a sad state of the human condition, that we do not focus on being aware. And being aware that so then we can focus on all of the issues we have to fix internally, so our external world is a better place. So thank you guys for joining us. We are here every Sunday at 1:30. If you enjoy these kind of conversations, I would very much appreciate it for the algorithms on the various platforms that you subscribe and like. And if you're in the local area, come out and see us every Sunday at 1:30. Appreciate it.